Are you a business looking for a fresh new way to reach potential customers? Well, you need to get airtime on IT TV, a 24/7 streaming and on-demand TV service online and on Roku. With Roku having a potential reach of 62 million people, it's a perfect opportunity to reach potential customers through affordable commercial and infomercial spots. Visit us online today at itnetwork.tv.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and we're going to meet some amazing people today. We have some new friends tuning into the show. We're going to share their stories, their expertise. They're going to provide you with tips, strategies, guidance on how you can be more successful in your life and in your business. But before I go ahead and introduce today's guest, I'm going to invite you to do what I always invite you to do. And that is to go ahead and share this show, because there's someone in your network who needs this information. Maybe they're a new entrepreneur. Maybe they're a serial entrepreneur. Maybe they're a business owner. I don't know. But I know someone in your network needs this information. And as I always say, friends don't let friends miss out on the Roundtable Talk Show. So while you're going ahead and introducing the show to your friends, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next guest, Miss Amanda of BCC Business Consulting. She helps business owners write themselves bigger paychecks and take vacations without cash flow anxiety and endless phone calls from staff. Good morning, Amanda. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you passionate about?
So I'm passionate about small business owners growing. So if you imagine a world where everyone is living in their passion, could you just see how everything might shift? I know that sounds a little crazy or a little Pollyanna to think that people could live in their passion, but I truly believe when we think about where we want to be in life, the world needs our passion, the world needs our innovation. And so that's what I do with small business owners, ensuring that they can make a livelihood doing what they love to do. A lot of people start businesses because they're either really good at what they do and they say to themselves, why would I continue to build up this company? I should build up a company for myself. Or like my first company was a bakery and I just really love to bake. So once you get there and you get through the hurdle of business startup, there's business 2.0. In business 2.0, there's not a lot of support out there. And I think it's really important to, get through the hump of the sales plateau that happens. And that's what I'm here to do. Thank you.
We're going to talk, of course, we're going to talk a little bit more about what you have going on, but I just want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, Mr. Z. Bennett. He is one of today's best mentors, speakers, trainers, having helped and guided thousands in the area of personal growth and success for over 20 years. He is a leader, retired Marine Chief Warren, law enforcement officer, program manager, teacher, successful father, husband, and man. Good morning, Z. How are you?
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me. My passion, as you already said, is basically trying to help people to grow through different ways. And the reason that the name of my system or what I do is called positive self-defense is because I realized that a lot of people don't feel empowered for a lot of different reasons. And one of those reasons is that they just don't know how to protect themselves or they don't know how to carry themselves. So when I talk about positive self-defense and my passion, I'm not just talking about the physical aspect of it. I'm also talking about mindset, awareness, and then the physical, so that people become basically the captains of their ship. And this, I relate to the fact of, again, not just the physical altercation, but taking charge of your life at your workplace, taking charge of your life in your family, not with physical violence, but with actually using self-defense type of mindsets and tricks and tools to actually aid a person to go further to the next level. And that's helped me to work with companies like Google and General Dynamics and all of those different places to actually help people to grow and to develop. So that's really my passion. And because of that, I've written and published 5 books. I've been, matter of fact, this last December, I was a speaker for the United States Army. And I actually just did my first TED Talk. So again, I've got to share. Excuse me?
Congratulations. No, I said, wow, congratulations. I love the little figures behind you. I think that is so cool.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Again, it's all about trying to help people grow, because when I was younger, real quick backstory. When I was younger, I met these 2 young girls, and these 2 young girls, I was a child myself. They had been being abused by their father, and they told me this. So I went and told my parents, because of course I'm a young kid, I don't know what's going on. And my parents got involved, the police got involved, and all of that stuff. But that was something that stuck with me even when I was a child, that people need to know how to protect themselves. And the fact that, again, it's not just physical, it's mental. You know, it's like rape. Rape isn't about the rape, it's about power and control. And people do it to us all the time. It's just that it may not be as outward as we normally think of it, in somebody abusing us and taking advantage of us.
I can definitely agree. You're welcome. Don't go anywhere, Z. Don't leave us. We're going to come back. I just want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, Mr. TJ Boyce. He is a serial entrepreneur who lives in Houston. He is a recording artist, producer, writer, filmmaker, and his children's official dadager, manager of his children's entertainment career. As a creative, he soaks up what's going on in the world and executive socially conscious thought through his films and music. Welcome, TJ. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you passionate about?
Well, you just gave me a great introduction. I am a recording artist, a writer, producer, filmmaker. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have 2 children that are actors and doing some amazing things. I'm their dad and their manager, and I'm passionate about life, passionate about success, and that's basically my thing. Just trying to grow, be successful, and take things to the next level.
That's what you're passionate about, TJ?
That's what I'm passionate about. It, yes.
Okay, well, you the dadager. Tell us a little bit about this group, these kids, what they have going on.
My son, Thomas Boyce, he's an actor, comedian, recording artist himself. He has a Disney movie coming out later this year, Crater. It's a Disney original film. It's going to be on Disney Plus. Also, my daughter, London Boyce, if you saw the movie Antebellum, she was Janelle Monáe's daughter in that movie. That was movie came out in 2021. It was at one time it was the number 1 movie at the box office. But she was Janelle Monáe's daughter in that movie, and she has a movie coming out later this year called Wonder London. She's going to be a superhero, a little girl superhero. Based on the movie's based on a book that she wrote a few years back. London is also a writer, author. So you got some exciting things going on.
We're going to learn more, definitely going to learn more about you and the kids and what they have going on. I just want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, Miss Laura Winston. She's a trademark and copyright attorney and principal in Offutt Kerman, a full-service East Coast law firm. She's passionate about education, which in her profession translate into educating people on the ways to protect their brands and original creative content, and educating people on how to stay out of trouble when it comes to other people's intellectual property. Good morning, Laura. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifah. It is such a pleasure to be here. I'm here in New York City. It's snowing out. I'm inside. I'm warm, and it's a really nice morning here. So as you said, I practice trademark and copyright law. I work with entrepreneurs and startups, as well as established companies, including larger companies, on securing, protecting, and enforcing their brand rights. I feel like my mission kind of aligns with Amanda's mission in that it's our both of our goal to help startups and small businesses do the right thing, make money, and keep them out of trouble to some extent too.
Wow, love it, love it, love it. Now, is that what you're passionate about?
So, from a professional standpoint, yes, I'm passionate about keeping people, making sure that their rights are protected, making sure that they're not infringing on other people's rights, and just generally keeping them out of trouble so they can focus on their business and on moving forward in their careers and advancing their business purposes.
Because so often we don't know. What's the phrase that I'm looking for? We don't know what we don't know. So it's good to have people like yourself who can go ahead and assist us. Now, Laura, I am going to come back to you. I just want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, Miss Kristen. Kristen is an entrepreneur enthusiast who lives by the mantra, work less and make more. She enjoys helping entrepreneurs ditch vanity metrics for true profitable connections. She's the CEO of Yes Boss, an agency that helps entrepreneurs elevate their visibility, influence as a podcast guest, so they can scale their business without becoming a full-time marketer. Good morning, Kristen. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, you have said a lot in my introduction, but I'll just add to that by saying that I do what I do because I have found that so many entrepreneurs are overcomplicating their business. I am on a mission to help solve that problem. So uncomplicating entrepreneurship. I started becoming a podcast guest a couple years ago, and I did it because I just wanted to share about entrepreneurship. My background is building an agency. So I had originally had a virtual assistant agency. And when I started becoming a podcast guest, I realized that the benefits of being a podcast guest were so much greater than I had ever imagined. A lot of people think about this as just traditional marketing and PR, which it absolutely is. But I have met so many wonderful people that have helped me grow my business that I now lovingly refer to podcast guesting as networking on steroids. So we found that it was the best thing that we ever did for our business. We get the most clients from me being a podcast guest. So we started doing it for our clients as well. And that's when we pivoted completely. And I now we exclusively do podcast booking. So people come to us to be a podcast guest. And, a lot of people know about the podcasting world, but they think they have to be on the host side. And we kind of show our clients that there's a ton of opportunity with not necessarily being a host, not taking on all those logistics, but just showing up as a podcast guest. And so it really fuels my mission to uncomplicate entrepreneurship because it's the easier side of what I would say is the easier side of the podcasting world.
I like it. So we're going to have all of your clients on the Roundtable Talk Show.
Right.
Okay. I got to make this about me somehow, some way. I am going to come back to you, Kristen. I just want to go ahead and introduce our next guest, Mr. Kevin. Kevin helps people get unstuck by understanding and overcoming their limited beliefs. Host of Next Level University, 750 plus episodes, over 100 plus countries. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I am doing very well, Sharifah. I appreciate the wonderful introduction and I appreciate the opportunity. And that bio is a little bit old, so we are actually at 850 episodes. We do 7 episodes a week on holistic self-improvement. Our goal is to help people level up their life, their love, their health, and their wealth. I think there's a lot of people that are really good at finance, and there's a lot of people who are really good at fitness, and there are a lot of people who are really good with relationships and emotional intelligence, but I've struggled to find a lot of people who are really good at all of them, and that is our goal, to help people level all those up in their lives. And I also created a podcast agency of types where we help busy CEOs and entrepreneurs grow, scale, and monetize their shows with very little of their time. So we do all the logistics, YouTube, audio, the editing, the show notes, the posting, as well as social media content.
Okay, Kevin, I have a question for you, but I just wanted to come back, see how everybody's doing. Everybody good? We having fun yet? Okay, good. Now, one of the things that I also talk about on the show is knowing what you were meant to do. I always talk about my cousin, who's a news reporter on one of the major news channels in Columbus, Ohio. He's 40 something years old now, but when he was 9 years old, he'd walk around the house with a spoon and interview people. He always knew that that's what he wanted to do. Like for me, I was like, I never knew what I wanted to do. I don't know what I want to do, but I'm a talk show host now. And I was that little kid that my mom was like, do you ever stop talking? Because I wanted to know. I wanted to know, like, what are they doing? Why is TJ scratching his eye? Like, what is going on in the world? Why has he got his finger on his mouth like that, Mom? Why? So that's what I do. Kevin, you have a very distinct voice. Prior to becoming a podcast host, were you one of those people that other people have said you have to be on radio? With that voice, you have to be on radio.
I've definitely heard you have the face for radio. Nobody ever told me my voice was good for radio. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was suicidal when I was 26, and I was on a guest episode. And after the episode, I said, imagine if you could do that for a living. And my buddy said, you can, right? And then a couple of days later, I went out and bought all the equipment, and here we are 4 years later, and this is my full-time job or multiple six-figure business. So yeah, for me, I had no idea. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I'm grateful I found it as early as I did, but I do believe that pain I went through when it came to my suicidal thoughts really helped me figure out what I wanted to do.
Wow. I just want to hug you, Kevin. I just want to give you a big hug.
Bring it in. Bring it in.
We did. No, because certain people, certain personalities, we often assume that they don't have problems or don't deal with certain things. And you just seem to me, and I'm going to ask maybe some of our other guests if they agree, but this kind of jovial kind of guy that doesn't appear, I wouldn't think is affected by much. So to hear you say that you were suicidal, it really does something to me. Do you ever get that response when you share your story?
Yeah, all the time. So you can't see the other half of me, but I'm a tattooed bodybuilder. So people assume that I'm super confident, and I'm the most confident I've ever been. I still have my days. I still have my moments. I have my struggles. But at the end of the day, I genuinely believe people's potential, and this can be a little tough to hear, is based on their level of personal development and self-improvement and character. And I've really, really studied for the last 5 years. Every single day I read or listen to an audiobook for 45 minutes. And if I am or do seem confident, it's just because I have more certainty in my life than I ever had. So I would attest that to it.
Wow. That moves me, Amanda. Z was talking.
I'm sorry. I was saying I totally agree, because most people, they just don't understand. They let all the negativity come into them, and their associates, their family, all of that stuff comes into them, and they start accepting it as real. They accept somebody else's reality as their reality. Somebody could have said to him the opposite of what he did that's now got him making six figures. And it may have taken him further down the road to where he might have successfully taken his own life. But somebody gave him a positive thing and he latched onto it. And by him latching onto it, he's finding success. Plus that, he also said that he's bouldering what he already has by he's doing the weightlifting, he's reading books on a regular basis, even if it's just a 45-minute audio book. He's learning something, he's getting other cultures, other experiences into his life. And that's a beautiful thing. I talked with a young lady literally yesterday, and she's now lives in the Washington, D.C. area. And she told me that 4 years ago, she was a homeless teenager. No, 5 years ago, she was a homeless teenager living out of a car. And some woman came up to her and said, hey, I want you to work for me, and I'm going to pay you $10 an hour. And she was like, to her, that was $1 million, but it turned her life around. Now she's married. She works for the Library of Congress, doing what she did by that lady teaching her. And it, the story that she told me was just amazing, and it falls in line with what Kevin just said. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. But again, we have to take charge. We have to remove those negative Neds and negative Nellies from our lives, in our business and everything. Like with what's going on with TJ. TJ's, his children and what he's doing for his children and how he's interacting with them and helping them to guide them along with the talents that they have so that they can do bigger and better things. Again, we don't understand how those little things in our lives, really guide us. I mean, everybody that's on here so far, from the attorney that's trying to help people and the things that she's doing to keep us out of copyright problems, like going to places like, what was it? I guess, again, the Library of Congress. They have an entire legal section that deals with copyright and how that whole process works. It's just, It's amazing because the tools are there. It's just that most of us don't know where to find them.
Absolutely.
I think it's really important for our culture to stay in that pain, though, for a minute. I think we brush over just like something bad happened to me and then look at me now. I'm 6 figures, and I had a failure that I had to sit with for 2 years. And for 2 years, I sat there going, where am I going to be? What am I going to do? And I can't see the future. And I think we brush past that middle icky, sticky part. And I just kind of want to bring that out and just say, if you're in it right now and you just you can't find your passion, or you just had a big failure, remember that your garbage turns into compost, that something beautiful can really grow there, that we can use that in our future. So sit there, be okay there, right?
Yeah,
We call
unfortunately,
I'm not okay there. I hate being in that situation. I mean, because that's where that can be where the suicidal thoughts, grow and breed. So one thing I was just thinking of as I was listening to Kevin, a lot of times, people don't see your pain when it comes to like suicidal thoughts and things like that, because it's psychological, and we're all different. So one thing, something could have affected him as a child, or affected any of us as a child, or as a young adult, so something that someone else may not even think is a really big deal, but something we're all affected by things differently. It just depends on how your environment, how you're socialized. I mean, there's a lot of different factors, but a lot of those things is really psychological. So I think that honestly, what we need to do is keep. I don't want to sound spiritual or too, but I stay in prayer personally. I think that helps keep my keeps me grounded and keeps my head in the right. I don't like being in that icky spot. That icky spot is, that's I start I start having thoughts of doing things that could get me in an even worse spot. So I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely not a great place to stay. So I appreciate you saying that too, and calling out that we do need to create systems within our daily lives to keep mental health first and foremost. What are the tiny baby steps you can do in order to stay present and not go to that dark place?
But Amanda, I appreciate the fact that you want to talk about it, because I do believe if anybody tuned in for the first 10 minutes, they would have heard me say I was suicidal and now I have a multi-6-figure business. What they wouldn't know is I had to move in with my buddy and pay $500 a month, and I had to be broke quite literally for 5 years, to the point where 2 years ago and last year I struggled to buy Christmas presents for my fiance. Right. And I have been broke, the brokest. And I work 7 days a week. Right. And I do 23 habits every single day. So I appreciate that very much.
There you go.
But and I think the part of it too, and we all have to market, right? It's important to market your business. But I don't mean this against anybody in the room. I don't want to do less and make more. I want to do more and have more impact, because I do believe output and impact are in direct correlation. If you only release one record, you might do pretty well. If you release 20 records and you're a high charting artist, then you're going to do way better. So I think that's part of it too, is find something you love and you're willing to do every day. And that makes life that much easier. That's why I am jovial and happy. I get to work from my pajamas every day, and that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Looks like you got dressed for today, though.
Only from the shoulders up.
Well, and I'd like to offer just one quote from James Clear. I'm sure you all have heard of his book, Atomic Habits, but we do not rise from the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. And that just means so much to me while we're building our business, and the story you just told about, those small habits that you do each and every day. It's in your brain, you're creating a story that puts you towards a higher level of being, right?
TJ, you were going to say something.
I was, but I forgot what it was. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You my age. You're around the same age. Way too young. The only person 400 episodes that has ever forgot. That's the beauty of the Roundtable Talk Show. So I'm gonna go over to Laura. Laura was saying something. So I'm gonna let Laura.
I was just thinking that what Amanda was saying and what TJ is saying are not necessarily in conflict. So Amanda was saying, if you're in that spot, be in that spot. And TJ was saying, well, I don't like being in that spot, so I pull on my inner resources. In your case, TJ, it's prayer to manage and deal with being in that spot. And I think that, like, the realization that if we do have those failures on some sort of level, or we're in a difficult place, that's okay. There's nothing. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's not so unusual. I think we can probably all relate to those kinds of feelings, and that it's acceptance that, yes, it's okay to feel this way, and working on strategies to try to bring yourself, into a better place, to the extent that you can, calling on others, mental health professionals if needed, and, move up out of it. In hindsight, you can look back and realize that you gained strength from something like that.
Right. I remembered what it was. What it was. When he said, Kevin said something about working more, and that is absolutely true. Work, you put it in with anything, whatever you get out of something, what you put in. But I think what the I forgot. I'm sorry, I can't remember the guest name that said that had that little saying or whatever. I think what she's meaning is you're working more so that you can have more time to spend time on whatever you're passionate about. So seeming that you're not working in your passion, you're working at something that you're working at something that's taking you out of your path. That's what that means, right? Correct.
Yeah. I can chime in here, because I have found, like, my motto is not just work less, make more, because I think it's catchy. It's actually something that I've found is the reality for me. So what I have found is that when I put more business pressure on myself to do all the things myself, I limit how much I'm able to grow. And this really started very, very early. So in my early entrepreneur, I guess I should say, when I first made my first dollar online, I was a $15 an hour virtual assistant. Now, I only had so many hours in my day that I could make $15 an hour. And that's when I realized that I needed to leverage. I needed to leverage the work of other people. I needed to leverage systems and processes. And I realized that the more that I could get myself out of the weeds of my business, the more that my business grew. Now, that also allowed me to focus on the things that I'm passionate about. And it gave me a ton of freedom within my business. So my business does require lots of working hours, but I don't want them all to be dependent on me. Other things happen in life. Like, I've had COVID and I couldn't work when I had COVID. My grandfather has died since I've been in business, and I couldn't work during those times. I'm now pregnant and I would like to take a maternity leave. And so for me, that's what work less, make more make more means and uncomplicating entrepreneurship. It's not that I don't want to put forth effort, but I want to free up my time so that I can spend it in the areas that I like. I like to talk about entrepreneurship and I like to share knowledge, but I don't want to have to be constantly thinking about how I'm going to monetize it because I don't have the systems in my business to grow my business without me. So, I feel like, Kevin, we're probably on the same page with a lot of this stuff. It's just the different side of the same coin when we're talking about it.
Yeah. We have a 13-person team. So I very much, if I tried to do everything, like we have a full audio production team, there's no way I could handle 7 episodes a week in terms of the back end. So I very much appreciate that. And I hope you don't think I was taking any shots at you. I promise I wasn't.
No, I'm not offended at all. I'm not offended, but I think that we both have really great points when it comes to this. Is you've got to do something that you love so that you can show up consistently. And when people choose to do businesses that they aren't ultimately passionate about, that's when you hit burnout. So what you say is absolutely relevant. You need to pick something that you would do for free and you want to do all the time. That's how you get started. But then to really take it to the next level, you've got to think on the strategic side, like how do I, like you've done your team and like I've done with my team, what do we do to get ourselves out of the weeds so that we can stay focused on the things that we love and where we make the most impact?
Yeah, it's also getting out of your own way, because that's a lot of our problems. A lot of us have a problem getting out of our own way. We're so busy trying to be the jack of all trades and the master of none that we just end up getting in our way. And then the other thing we were talking about earlier is, one, we're deletion creatures. We get hit with so much information about so many different things all the time that we don't even remember. And then most people only try once or twice. You guys, from what I'm hearing, you've all tried again and again and again, whether you were passionate about it or not. You tried again and again and again. And from that, you found success. As in what you were saying earlier about your garbage is sometimes your treasure. From that are those little golden nuggets that you would have missed because you were so focused on the negative part of that trash, that you didn't understand. I remember years ago, I got kicked out of this director's office because he was telling me some crap. And he said, well, Mr. Bennett, you do know that crap rolls downhill or something like that. And I said, yes, sir. I said, but please understand. I said, it's not the funk in the corner that runs you out the house. I said, it's that funk it's not the crap in the corner that runs you out the house. It's that funk that rises back up to the top. And I believe that's where you are.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a good one.
He kicked me out of his office.
Just to tag on to that, successful people do what unsuccessful people won't do.
I agree.
Look at your, if you're struggling in your business, let's look at your lead generation strategies. Are you getting out there in front of people, like doing podcasts, like, Kevin and other guests here, and getting your name out there? Are you calling people? Are you getting outside of your comfort zone and leveling up? And
plus that, what are the other things? What are the other things that are actually also affecting your business and your ability to communicate and to also get business? Because a lot of people, it's something in the home. Maybe it's their political affiliation. Maybe it's their health. Maybe it's another relative that's sick, or somebody that they care about, a close friend. Like you were just talking about, we were just talking about grandfather or father passing away, being pregnant and trying to deal with that and whatever fears and angst and stuff that are put in there. And again, coming back to it, what are the people that you're associated with? What are the books you're reading? Who are you associating with? Who have you decided to take information and make it real, but not actually looking a little further? You guys have all gone to the point where you've got into something and somebody's giving you advice, but you haven't just run with that advice. You've done a little bit of research. You've looked at it to find the facts, the truth of it all. Right now, we live in a world where alternative facts are, to a good majority of the population, facts. And again, you've got all these people that just won't step forward, not only for themselves, but they won't step forward for anybody else. Not only for anybody else, but for themselves. I mean, I talked to a guy the other day. He's been in his particular job at his particular level, which is low, for 32 years. And he's another guy, he's grossly overweight. And every time I see him, he's like, hey, Z, I'm a work in progress. I was like, dude, you ever notice that every time you say that to me, I just look at you? I said, because That's all you say. There's no backup on that. There's no plan. There's no strategy. There's no effort on your part. You're waiting for somebody else to fix your problems. You're waiting for somebody else to give you the answers. And then if somebody gives you the answers, you're still not taking any action on it. You know, that's the crazy thing about it. You know, most people just don't take action, or the action that they take is half-hearted, severely half-hearted. You know, again, Kevin, TJ, Laura, you know, Kristen, Amanda, all of you guys are taking action and you're getting results, you know, and that's the other thing, like with TJ, the results that he's given to his kids and what he's put in front of his children has made them decide to go, yo, dad's walking the walk and talking the talk and all that. You know, I mean, how many of us see people that say you can't? Kevin, you know, before you started lifting weights, that was another thing to shore up some of those things you felt lacking in. So now you're body man, you know what I'm saying? You got muscles on top of muscle.
I love to hear.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No. It was a good point. Excellent point. I wanted to go over and hear what TJ had to say about his thoughts on walking the walk as opposed to just talking the talk.
Oh, my thoughts on walking the walk and as opposed to talking the talk is, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think that so, you know, in my life, you know, I see so many people that you know, everybody wants to make it. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to be successful, but not enough people want to you know, do the work, put the work in. You know, and I've told several people, you know, and you know, in my lifetime, you know, hey, you know, it's like, if you want to do this, if you want to make it, I mean, you gotta grind. You have to put the work in. There's no way around it. There's no shortcuts. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned in being an entrepreneur, and just being a business person, and even in music and entertainment. There's really no shortcuts. There's, we all want to try to, be that,
that success. So let me ask you, TJ. Let me just ask you a question. This is just me, because I love to observe people. You've been grinding, huh?
Oh yeah, I've been grinding. I've been grinding. I've
How much sleep you done had, TJ?
not very much. Not very much. But it's all good. It's all good. I mean, I am I'm a successful dude. You know, I have several businesses outside of entertainment, and you know, I have no complaints. You know, I've done well. You know,
we're gonna work on some self-care for TJ. We're gonna have nap time. TJ. Yes, TJ. I think it was Kristen who mentioned burnout. I'm telling you, you can't be, burning that candle at both ends. That's what they say.
Honestly, right now, I would be at the gym right now if I weren't here with you guys. So this is my gym time, and
this is my fault.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, Kevin's a bodybuilder, so he could probably, relate to what I'm saying. You know, sometimes, when this would normally be the time, like I use the gym to help me kind of get my day going, get the blood flowing, So I'm not right now. I have no pre-workout in me. I have no coffee in me. I have no no stimulants.
I'm gonna ask Kevin. You understand what TJ's saying?
I do. It's part of the regimen. I get up at 4 or 4:30 in the morning. I work for an hour. My fiance wakes up. We go to the gym, and that's the start of my day. That is the gong that says, hey, it's time to get after it today. So TJ, I very much understand. Not only did I have pre-workout this morning, I also had a latte. So I'm ready to roll. I'm
So I'm behind schedule right now, but we're gonna make it work. We're gonna work. I won't fall asleep on you. I won't fall asleep on you guys. Trust me.
Everybody's got their own routine.
Everyone's fueled up.
Yeah, everybody's got their own routine.
Yeah.
My thing is you make time to make time. That's what I do. You know,
Yeah.
I do my 24 flights. I try to do that at least 3 days a week. I try to do at least my 8-mile run. I do my karate and my jujitsu and then my judo, you know, but I fit that in when the time is there, I make time, or when it ain't there, I figure out how to make time. You know, adjust to that and will come. I got a Marine Corps mindset.
You guys are putting me to shame, but I did do my 20 minutes on the elliptical this morning. So I guess that's better than 15 minutes on the elliptical.
Just move the body. That's what it's all about. Just move the body. Move the body.
One step leads to two, right?
Exactly. You know.
I feel like you hear this over and over and over again when you talk to successful people. It's all about taking care of yourself. And then from that comes having a flourishing business outside of yourself. So I feel like this conversation is just proof to everybody listening. If you want to be successful, you got to, it's an inside job, which is something that, man, I wish I had learned that a long time ago, you know, instead of just output constantly. Like, you've got to fuel yourself so that you can come and produce that output from a place that's not burning you on both ends. But when you have these successful habits, you have these things in your life that you know fuel you, then you can rise to that success level. And I feel like for me and many people I've talked to, we're limited by the amount of growth that we do. So there'll be a new plateau where we think like, oh, my business isn't moving forward. And it's like, we got to look within and figure out what we need to do to next level ourselves, so that our business can grow to that next level.
Yeah, you also need to show your wins. That's another thing. A lot of us don't show our wins. You know, we do all these different things, and we don't see the fruits of what we've done because we're so busy doing. You know, my wife one day, years ago, I was feeling really down about, you know, I was like, oh man, I didn't accomplish this. I got to do this. I still need to do that. And my wife looked at me one day and she's like, do you realize how much stuff you've actually done? And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, Zurian, you've got all these certificates and certifications and all this other stuff. You know what you need to do? You need to make yourself an I love you wall. And I looked at her and was like, what the heck is an I love you wall? She said, you need to, every now and then, you need to take some of these certificates and put them up on the wall. I literally filled up 3 walls in my basement with certificates and certifications. And that's when I started realizing, wow, I actually have accomplished something. Because again, we're so busy being busy that we lose focus a lot of times in what's important to us. You know, and that's everybody. You know, we just get so wrapped up. We start neglecting our family. We start affecting our health, which again, you guys seem to have that covered. Laura, I know you're working on it. I know you catching up with us. Don't play.
Well, I would just like to point out for people who aren't runners and stuff, for the last year and a half, I've been overcoming a really huge health scare. So I've been in treatment for the last year and a half, and I was not able to do runs or even walk sometimes. So remember just getting out of bed and those baby steps that you can take in order to get to a healthier lifestyle, if that's even just breathing, you know? So there's ways to get to build up to where you're running and on an elliptical for 15 minutes. That's a huge milestone.
I mean, it's like you got to start somewhere. You get credit for reading. If you're reading, that counts. Now, I don't want the people to pick you apart, Amanda, because they're like, you have to do more than just breathe. But I'm with you, Amanda. I remember, I'm tired just listening to Z. I remember when I was in high school and those recruiters would call me from the military and he was like, Sharifah, you got to join. I'm like, I am not about to join. They're like, why not? I'm like, because you do more before 9 a.m. than I do all day. I'm not doing any of that. I chill. That's what I do. That's it. So I get you.
Take care of you. Yep.
I take care of me. That's what I do.
Hey, what is it?
And now here we'll have the talk show at 8 a.m. So that's different from back then.
Oh yes, but here's the thing. It's not different because that's from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. That's the extent of the work that I'm going to do today. I tell you, after that, it's nap time. I don't do all that work. I leave that for people like Z and TJ. TJ got businesses.
TJ's grinding. Yep.
Hey man, I like money. I like the, you know, I'm not gonna even lie to you. I like the access. I like the access to anything that I desire. I want to try to do, or you know, I want to. You live one time, right? You do this thing once,
Yeah.
and I want to experience everything. You know.
Okay, so
Yeah,
how
but
do you
just remember,
prevent
bro,
burnout?
money.
How,
Go ahead,
how
she's
do I
asking some-
how do I do what now?
Prevent burnout. How do you prevent burnout, TJ?
You know, for me, I think it's different for everybody. It depends on how you know. I'm wired a certain way. I'm you know, I've been on vacation. You know, 3 days in, and I'm like, you know, I'm on the phone, and everybody's like, you know, can you get off your phone? I just I'm wired to. I feel like I have to be working or doing something. You know, I have to be doing something productive, something that and I've never gotten burnt out. You know, I'm not that. And I guess because, you know, I don't have a job. You know, I don't have a job like you know, like a 9 to 5 where I clock in and I'm just doing a certain thing. I'm doing deals. I do deals all day, and you know, that's you know, I like doing deals. You know, I kind of have a making new deals, closing deals, and it's like a you know, it's like a rush type of thing. You know, so I'm not in a situation where I get burned out. I'm not you know, I'm not you know, putting on a uniform and going to a job or clocking in or doing, you know, I haven't done that in over 20 years. So, you
No,
know,
I get it. It's a different level of energy, you know, because I do say the same thing. I tease a lot, but I am on the phone doing emails all day, you know, but I'm not taking that physical energy to have to drive somewhere and go to a commute and be there by a specific time. One of the things that I've learned, at least this works for me, is that I learned to trust me. I learned to trust my body. When it's time for me to rest, I'm like, okay, Sharifah, you might need to take a nap for a minute or just rest, or maybe your mind is so focused that this is a good time for some Netflix. And so I kind of learned that, you know, because I don't want to burn out, and it's not a fear of mine, but I just learned over time. You know, I built my first website in 1994. Been doing this for a long time. I've just learned, you know, when I need to rest, when I need to eat, that kind of thing. I saw you nodding, Amanda. So we're not gonna go with just breathing. We got to do a little bit more. But what are your thoughts?
Oh, burnout. It's so dangerous, especially as entrepreneurs, because when we hit it, it's hard to not hit it again. And you have to really change the systems of your life and your day in order to exit burnout. I hit burnout at my bakery, and just to go back to, you know, having a passionate business, I was so passionate about that, but I was also chasing economies of scale, and what I found out later after being away from the business is that I set it up wrong. I didn't account for myself and build a runway in order to get to the profitability and the lifestyle that I needed to, you know, to live, even to hire a manager. I wasn't paying myself enough to build that into my system. So I work with people to do that, so you don't hit the burnout that I did. I fell flat on my face in that bakery. I had to exit in the least graceful way. But, you know, I've learned a lot over the last 3 years on how to do.
And you're
Yeah,
still
another
here.
one.
You're still here. I just want to hear from Laura. Grinding like
Just
TJ.
like
That's what you gotta
TJ.
do. Laura, you've
Go,
just
go.
been so patient, so polite, so quiet, which is not typical. Not to say everyone else talks a lot, but I love to hear your thoughts on the conversation, Laura.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like one of the interesting things I'm picking up on is that most of us, if not all of us here, seem to have a mission of making sure that entrepreneurs can do what it is that they need to do to run their businesses. And, you know, in at least some of our cases, well, like in Kevin's case, it's giving them tools and resources that they need to live their best life in all different areas. And then you look at somebody like me or Amanda or Kristen, and we are focused more on offloading some of the burdens that entrepreneurs face and trying to make it easier for them to do their jobs. The work less, make more is not to say that you're going to put in, fewer hours and care less about your business. It's just that you're giving other people the opportunity to help you make it easier. And, in my field, I find there are a lot of DIY people who think they can manage their own trademark and copyright protection. But I end up actually gaining some clients who find that it wasn't so easy to try to do it on their own. And then they come to me for help, and it could have saved them some time, effort, and money if they had, just done that in the first place, sought some outside resources to give them a hand. I'll give you an example. Everybody with the business has trademarks. Some people don't necessarily realize that. They think they have to do something affirmative to actually have a trademark for their business, but all you have to do is use the trademark, and that gives you some rights in the trademark. But there are ways to enhance that protection, like getting a trademark registration with the federal government. And that's something that there are forms online that make it look deceptively simple to try to fill them out and complete them yourself. But the reality is there's a lot of pitfalls and tricks, and that's where it's better to put yourself in the hands of a professional. There's filing fees involved, and if you spend those filing fees and you haven't done it right, you're going to find that you have to go back to square one and incur those filing fees a second time. So that's just one example of a way that entrepreneurs can serve themselves well by giving experts the opportunity to help them with their business, free them up to focus on the expertise of their specific business itself.
I love hiring professionals. That's my thing. I hire professionals for everything. If it's not a professional for it, I create a professional, because I am not about, I'm feeling, I told you, I live in Long Beach, California. That's all I do. Now, we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today. And we're going to start with you, Kristen.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I really appreciate it. My biggest takeaway is that if you're feeling like entrepreneurship is really complicated, it really doesn't have to be. So we've talked a lot about taking care of yourself. I've talked a bit about, work less, make more, being able to delegate and bring in resources. So if you're feeling like your business is complicated, specifically in terms of expanding your network, your marketing, your PR, that's something that I love helping our clients with. So we get clients booked as podcast guests. So you don't have to show up and know how to guide the conversation. You have to be able to talk about what you know and love. I think it's so fun. I feel like it's like the low barrier to public speaking to kind of get your foot in the doors, establishing yourself as a thought leader. So if you're feeling complicated, just know that it doesn't have to be. You can enjoy your business. And I would encourage everybody who's listening, if you don't know what steps to take, like what next step to do, I have found that connecting with people is always the next best step. You can never have too many people in your corner. I use podcasting to connect with people. It doesn't have to be that way, but just get out there and connect with people and surround yourself with others who can help you.
Absolutely. Yes, boss. That's what I want to say. Yes, boss. BA.com. Thank you, Kristen. TJ, what do you have for the people?
I want to say thank you. Thank you, people. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. And I would just like people to take away. There's been a lot of cool things, great things, interesting things said today. So as far as what I've contributed, maybe people can take away. Hey, grind. You got to grind till you get it.
Grinding never stops over there with TJ. Definitely agree. Amanda, what do you have for the people?
Well, just to kind of latch on to what TJ is saying, the grind, but do it in a way that's super focused. I think I can share my screen. And if I share my screen, I can show you this 80-20 rule. So it means that 80% of what you do each day in your business is generating 80%. 20% of what you do in your business is generating 80% of your income. And here is a 5-part framework that encompasses that 80 or that 20%. So foundations, more leads, more transactions, and more profits. And then if I go to the next slide here, I just want to show you that if you've got your strategy right, so we're starting in digital marketing, there's 25 ways of grinding in digital marketing. And then within each of these 25 ways, there's even more ways. So, social media here, I have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and many, many more social media channels. So when you're grinding, maybe don't start in the social media and maybe think about your strategy is what I would leave the group with today.
Thank you, Amanda. Definitely appreciate you. I want to go over to Miss Laura.
So I mentioned early on that my passion is educating people, and that in the professional context, that means teaching them about trademarks and copyrights. This is my IG handle here, Laura Winston 7002. It's funny, I was an early Twitter adopter, so I'm Laura Winston on Twitter. I welcome people to follow me there. But I put my IG here because there's a link in my bio where people can go and request a one sheet that I have called 6 Reasons to Register Your Trademark. It's just a way to get people started on this road to education about intellectual property. And it's really been, it's been a pleasure to be here today. I've learned a lot from this variety of guests, and would love to come back sometime if you'll have me.
Absolutely. Everyone always asks, how do you get so many guests? I'm like, a lot of returning guests. I have guests that are here once a month, every other week, so much, but it's the returning guests that really help me out. So please feel free to come back anytime. Z, what do you have for people?
Okay, what I have for people is, one, pay yourself first. A lot of us don't pay ourselves first, and then we find out that we don't have anything else to give. Another thing is, one, I'd like people to try to be people of character and not characters. A lot of people are just like cartoons. They don't have any character. The money is a beautiful thing, and trust me, I want as much as I can get, but I'm not going to sacrifice who I am and what I am for the sake of money, nor am I going to sacrifice those I care about for those things. Again, my name is Zurian Bennett, and my website is positiveselfdefense.org. And pretty soon we'll actually be coming out with a digital program that'll mirror one of my 5 books that are out. But again, every day is a great day, and every day is a great day to be above ground. And please understand that today is now. You don't have tomorrow. Everybody says, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, guess what? Your today was your tomorrow before. So go ahead and take charge. And remember that today is now. Don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow in reality never comes. Thank you very much for having me, and I'll be back.
Well, come on back. That's interesting. I actually posted that on Facebook this morning. Today is your tomorrow. You talked about yesterday. So I hear you. I definitely agree. Kevin, tell us, what would you like the people to take away?
One of my favorite quotes, I've said this many, many times, the biggest difference between who you are today and who you want to be is your habits. So make a new habit. You heard a lot of awesome, deeper understanding and tactics and knowledge and wisdom. And if you can take one of those things and just do it once a day, a little bit, do it half, do it quarter, do it an eighth. You just got to start small, and you got to build over time. And I would also say, for all the entrepreneurs out there, do not be afraid to start by scaling the unscalable. I am still doing free calls to get podcast clients, so don't be afraid to do that. It helps a ton, because he or she who adds the most value always collects on the back end. And Next Level University is our podcast 7 days a week, from anywhere in the world, in your pocket for free.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Kevin. I want to
you.
thank you all for being guests on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. And I especially want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch this show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. I definitely appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you sharing. But the most important thing to me is that you support our guests. Our guests were here this morning to support you, to give you their advice, their stories, their strategies. So please support them. Visit their websites, follow them on social media, reach out to them. And when you do, please let them know Sharifah Hardie says hi. Now, if you're interested in more ways that I can help your business, or maybe you want to be a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show, please visit my website at AskSharifah.com. Until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, everyone have a safe